The weekly message of the United Church of Christ of Hummelstown, Pennsylvania, a podcast version of our worship service. To learn more and listen to the rest of the worship, check us out online at hummelstownucc.org.
So today we celebrate Pentecost, the marking of a transition for the first community of Christians. This is the moment when the tasks done by the child of God become their work to do, their prophetic voice to speak, their journeys to take. So it is indeed a joyous day of celebration, and also of confusion, because what is so true of God is that God, can never be controlled or defined well. Back in that wandering desert life of the early Israelites, God made themselves clear that they could not be controlled. And that same spirit of unexpectedness rises in the disciples as well. The Spirit of God comes to the disciples as tongues of fire. The Spirit of God comes to Moses and the elders of Israel as cloud. In both of these readings today, we're invited to see the Spirit as something that offers knowledge and connection, but doesn't always do what is expected. In Numbers, the elders are required to head outside the camp, which, by the way, was supposed to number 600,000 people or more. So it isn't exactly a small campsite, but a tent city. And outside of that is where the Israelites are supposed to encounter with God. There, outside the camp at the tent of meeting. And for most of them, that does happen, but not those rascally Eldad and Medad folks. They remained behind, and yet the Spirit came to them anyway. God doesn't always do what we think, and yet so often we continue to assume that we can be the ones to plot the course, to set the pace, to make the track of where God is going, because we will know where we are going. But even back then, even before Jerusalem, God reminds the people that they are not in control. What is rather interesting, however, is just how concerned the peoples become that these elders, who were, I would expect, trusted with leadership, would prophesy in their hearing. So different from the expectation now that if I didn't see it, or hear about it, or get it on film, it didn't happen. I mean, the phrase, the meme, pics or it didn't happen, is true for us. But in this story, the expectation was the reverse. Here isn't where we encounter God. That isn't supposed to happen. That's over there, safely outside. No proof, no pics. We just will trust you. It happened. The text even says that none of the elders prophesied again. This was a once-off encounter in a new way with God's Spirit, in a safe place, but not an ongoing encounter. It wasn't meant to be replicatable. For the disciples, too, this moment of language confusion that takes over shows the proof of the Spirit moving in the people. Proof they must defend so that they cannot be called drunk, so that they can be seen that the moment is true. The people want proof. So why, to the community who hears Eldad and Medad, should they get concerned? Why shouldn't God be in the camp, the tent city, the place to live? Generations later, we are living into a faith story that allows us to know that formative faith now has to be a part of the family structure, rather than just the obligation of the church, the pastor alone. The church community can encourage and develop our faith talk. But for faith to take root, it has to be a part of our home lives as well. Making space for conversations about what and how we believe and what our belief offers us. Security, confusion, a place to open ourselves to doubt or clarity, all of it. And we have Eldad and Medad's experience to thank for that. Prophetic voices of our loved ones are the most powerful to hear. That's what makes testimony so influential. Locality, It is here. That is the power. So it is from within that we have to open ourselves to be the most bold. It is the leadership of those we have known so long that awakens us to our gifts too. It is the words of a friend, a neighbor, a church pew companion that can open doors and invite us on a journey we never thought we might be on. This week, I came across a perfect visual aid to speak to this moment of boldness, this moment of faith stories from within.
This has been the weekly worship from the United Church of Christ of Hummelstown. No matter who you are, or where you are, on life's journey, you are welcome here. Join us online or in person, at 104 East Main Street in Hummelstown, Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Thank you for listening today. We look forward to your fellowship.